Hi, I'd like to give you a quick tour of MapForge, the mapping application I'm developing. This is just a prototype, so there's a lot of features and functionality that isn't quite ready yet, but let's get started. This is what the app looks like when you first launch it. Um, each of the tools, if you hover over it with the mouse, you'll get a tooltip explaining what the tool does. And we've started off with the stamp tool. You can go over each of these later on your own if you download the demo. There's going to be layers. There's going to be a means of importing your own artwork. And when you're done laying everything out, you're going to click this button to export your finished map. For now, I've only got a plain white grid, not configurable. You can turn it on or off, but other than that, you can't really configure it. But eventually, this button here is going to let you select a lot of things like the color of the grid, the transparency, whether it's a hex grid or a square grid, or if it has center dots, if you're going to label each hex or whatever. Lots of configuration options. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention is that there's no pan and scroll functionality yet, so I'm only going to be able to draw on the map or create on the map in this area that we're currently viewing. The actual map is much bigger, but since there's also no zoom controls yet for zooming in or out and no panning, I'm just limited to the on-screen canvas for now in this prototype. Alright, anyway, let's get started. Here we can see we've got the stamping tool, and if I put my cursor over the canvas area, you can see the coordinates. That's probably a temporary thing. I don't know if that's going to be in there, the little X and Y label, but it might be useful. Maybe it'll be configurable. So this is showing me where it's going to stamp and what it's going to stamp onto my blank canvas. And using the rotation hotkeys, I can turn it 90 degrees either way. I'm going to start by clicking here, and I've placed my first tile. Now you can see here in the yellow highlight, that's the category that I've currently selected. You could select different categories, and over here you see the different variants of each tile. So for example, if I page through these, there's a unlit, a lit, one with a sarcophagus, a lit sarcophagus, with armor on either side of the sarcophagus. There's a whole bunch of variants. And you can just page through them real quick. Or you can scroll through here and look at all the variants. Again, using the arrow keys for up and down arrow keys, you can go back and forth on these categories. These are all the categories in this particular art pack or add-on. There's a few details missing, like the little scroll indicator of where you are in the list isn't there yet. You can't click here to scroll. You have to actually click on the arrows. But those are small details that'll get added in later. So anyways, as you can see, you can easily toggle the categories with the up and down arrow keys, and then the variants of each category with the left and right arrow keys. Alright, so let's start putting together a map. I'm going to lay out a quick hallway. Maybe have a T intersection here. And maybe a four-way intersection here. Okay, so I've laid out my map. Um, Actually, in my haste, I forgot to use the variants of each tile that are available, but that's okay because when I stamp down each of these tiles, I'm not just stamping down the currently selected tile, I'm stamping down everything in the collection. So once the select tool is enabled, it's not yet, but once it's enabled, you'll be able to click on a tile and cycle through and find the exact variant you want. But the other neat thing that lets you do is I've got this little randomized tiles feature that instantly generates a random map based on the layout that you've designed, but it just changes the tile variants. And you don't have to use the menu command. You can just press the R hotkey until you come up with something you like or that's close enough, and then you can always fine-tune individual tiles. So, eventually there's also going to be a way that you can decorate with individual items. Whoops. You could put like, tables and chairs and whatever dungeon props, pit traps, whatever, to further customize the map, but that functionality isn't there yet. But when you're done with all of that, you would basically go to this button to export the map, and right now the export size is fixed, you can't change it. You can change the format that you're going to save to, but in my tests almost always PNG is the way to go because it's fast and you get a small file size and it looks great. JPEG, it takes a lot longer and you get a slightly smaller file size. And BMP, you get a humongous file and it's not exactly quick either, so I don't know why you'd want to use BMP. So I'm going to go ahead and export it without the grid and click OK. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000, 7 1000, and it's done. Let's take a look at the map that it exported, shall we? I didn't give it a name, so it just saved it as untitled. We'll open it up here. And here it is. There it is in all its high-res goodness. Actually, this demo is limiting to 50 dots per inch or per grid square. So the actual finished program is going to let you choose the export resolution. It can be 100, 200 pixels per square, or even 500 or 600, I assume. Although the higher resolution you go, the less map area you're going to have to work with, because there is a finite limit, and you'd need a tremendous amount of RAM to make really huge maps at like 1,000 pixels per square inch. But I assume in any case that a lot of people are going to use this for creating maps for virtual tabletop software. Some people will use for printing out, but 200 or 300 dots per inch is more than enough quality for printouts. You get good looking results very quickly. I just put this map together in a couple of minutes, and I don't know what other product you'd use to get a map that looks this nice in so short a time. You can see this was the working area of the canvas that was showing on screen, but the map can be much, much, much bigger. The thing that is working is you can save a map. We'll call this tutorial these commands I think are working already. New map will just clear everything, start fresh. Open map will load whatever Where's the map I just made? Loads right up. This grid can be toggled on and off with the G hotkey. Sometimes I like to have it on to help line things up. Sometimes I like to turn it off so that it looks better. And some add-ons, not this one, but some add-ons are going to come with a daytime and a nighttime variant, and you can very easily just click a radio button here to switch between those two. And I guess that's about it. The marquee tool is kind of sort of working. You can't do anything with it, but you can select an area. That's about it. It doesn't even snap to the grid just yet, but it will, optionally. Down here is the snap to grid control. Snap to grid is now off, and it's now on. Here's the about screen for the program. And you can click on the URL and it'll take you to the website, although it's just a skeleton website for now. About the only thing you can do is read some basic information about what MapForge is going to be, and you can sign up for the mailing list to stay informed of future updates. Let's try a flood fill or bucket fill. Fill the entire map canvas with it. This does take a little while because it's stamping down hundreds of these rooms, and just for kicks I'm going to randomize it. This is a total nonsense map, but I just wanted to show you that the tool works. Play around with the downloadable demo. There's a couple things I haven't covered. Oh, there's one very important thing I didn't go into. That's the technical demo. Because MapForge is not just about stamping down pre-made tiles. It also it's going to have draw tools, so you can draw like basic wall shapes like you see here. And there are filter effects that you can apply to those drawn shapes. For example, if I roll over this one, you'll see the bevel effect over black kicks in. Here I've got a soft drop shadow. Soft drop shadow plus a bevel effect combined. A thin black stroke. Hue adjustment and a glow shadow. Notice that it's different from a drop shadow, which is like displaced, like in this case it's down and to the right. This one is omnidirectional, it just glows outward from the walls. Here I've got a heavier glow shadow plus saturation adjustment plus a bevel effect. And here I've changed the brightness and added a glow shadow. So you can mix and match filters to produce the desired effects. You can also combine textures with masks, either that you draw or that come in the program, to come up with textured walls. And when that gets interesting is when you start to add filters to that. Here I'm going to add a glow filter. Already it starts to give it a nice wall-like definition. I'm going to change the hue and saturation. These will have all sorts of adjustable parameters in the final program. Right now this is just a technical demo. I'm going to add a bevel filter, drop shadow. You can click this multiple times to get a deeper shadow if you want. And even a blur filter, although it doesn't make sense to use it here. And I'm going to clear all the filters. So it's amazing that from such a simple texture you can get something that looks completely different in the end. Let's give it a deeper bevel. Super deep shadow. Well, whatever. You can play around with this. And basically you should be able to achieve results like this. This map was created, I don't know if it was Photoshop or GIMP or something like that, but you'll be able to create this with much greater ease of use, less of a learning curve, and much quicker overall, I think, as those high-end programs. So hopefully you like what you see, and hopefully this Kickstarter will do well. Thanks for watching.